Get you away from that sun here.
Alright guys, so out on the water today, doing a little fishing, got my rod set up. We're using a big old husky jerk. See if we can get onto some pike a little bit here. I'm gonna paddle around a little while. I wanted to come out and test this guy out in the wind. You can see it's kind of looking ugly, so we may need to seek shelter on an island for a bit if things turn ugly. I've also picked up a Trangia burner kit, whatever you want to call it. I think it's the 27.3. I ended up going with this because a lot of time when I'm out ice fishing and things like that, those rocket stoves and a lot of those rocket stoves just don't work in that kind of cold. They lose pressure in their canisters, and it causes a bit of trouble trying to keep heat and actually cooking your food, and it takes a really long time, and sometimes they go out. So I decided to go with a Trangia stove. I have a feeling that worst case scenario, it doesn't want to light. You just sprinkle a little bit of the fuel around or on the actual burner itself, and then just light the whole thing on fire, and once the outside burns off, it'll warm up the inside enough to keep it going. But we're gonna cook a meal with that today. I've got a couple of islands in behind me. I got one out there, and so on. So I want to paddle around and just get used to the canoe a little bit. We'll try out see if we can get onto some fish, and we'll try out the Trangia stove and cook a pretty badass meal, I think. Anyway, but once again, in true ATO fashion, I forgot my spoon and fork. So we'll have to figure something out for that. I did have some bread buns, so maybe that'll work, but we'll see. Number 13 husky jerk from Rapella, and these things are supposed to be killer for pike, but I've actually never caught anything on it. The rod I'm using is an 8-foot Shimano Convergence with a Abu Garcia Silvermax bait casting reel. All right, I'm looking for a place to stop and have some lunch, but the wind has really picked up. It's actually starting to get a little cold. There's only 6 degrees when I left today, and with the wind, I don't even know what it is. Pretty chilly, so I'm gonna see if I can get onto an island outside of this wind. The wind seems to be coming from the west, or southwest actually. So if I can get myself onto a north side of the island, or a island, I should be at least have a windbreak enough to be able to get my lunch going. You see, I don't know if the camera's picking it up at all, but I'm getting some pretty decent waves coming in here, and it's starting to get a little nasty. So let's see if we can get somewhere a little bit safe, a little more safe anyway. I was trying to hopefully get far enough away from the highway to actually get some peace and quiet, but it doesn't look like it's gonna happen. Oh, I might be able to do something right here. There. I'll give you a look. You can see right along behind this grass here, there's actually this rocky bit it looks flat enough to actually set up for a quick lunch and get out of the wind, take a break, and fuel up the body a bit, because I'm getting a little bit on the tired side. And it is somebody's hunting spot, but they don't seem to be here, so I am going to set up my lunch right now. So here you go, guys. Here is the Trangia cook kit as it comes out of the box. I have opened this, I've cleaned it, and I put it all back together again. So has this neat little it's kind of like a cam lock. You can pull that open, and you'll want to remove this before you cook anything. So we'll pull that right out, and we'll put that in the pocket. So in the kit that I got, it has a non-stick frying pan slash lid for the pots. We'll get to this in a second. It has a windscreen, 2 bowls. See if I can open this up for you. One of the bowls, you can see right here, those 2 little dots. Those 2 little dots on the inside is measurement. So you got like a third of a liter and a half liter on there. And this whole pot, I believe it holds a liter, or they both do even. Sorry guys, you'll see right here on the lid, there's like a little tab. See that? And there's a little slot. You want to line those up and then just give it a turn. And those 2 things will lock together. You'll be able to place this down on the ground and then drop your stove in with your fuel in there. So let's put this guy down and we'll check out the stove. So here's the stove. Comes inside this bag with it, which is kind of nice. So you have something to put your stove back into once it's once you filled it up with fuel, just in case it leaks. So you have this little damper here. I'm not going to go into this too crazy. I mean, so many of you guys have actually seen or own one of these guys, so I'm going to give you just a quick look. So there you go. You got your lid with your O-ring inside, and you've got your reservoir for your fuel, and all your little holes for your little flame, your little jet flames to come out of there. So there's the stove. And one other handy looking thing that comes with it is you actually get a little pot handle for your pots, so you're able to use it like a, you're able to take it off and put the handle aside for the time being while you're cooking, and then when you need to pick it up or move it around or do whatever, or control your pan a little better, you could do that without your handle getting too hot. So that'll work out pretty good too. Sorry guys, the fuel I chose to go with was actually fondue fuel. After doing some research, and hopefully you see that, after doing some research on the different fuels you could use and how they perform and all that stuff, I decided to go with the fondue fuel because of it's one of the safer ones and cleaner ones to use inside. So it's more of a cleaner alcohol that will not put out as much soot. We'll take a look at the pot when we're done cooking, because I'm going to cook everything in one of the pots today, not the frying pan. Although maybe I could do it in the frying pan, but we'll see. The purpose I went to this was because it's going to be cleaner, so it'll mean less maintenance for me and all that stuff after. I've watched some tests on YouTube of people using alcohol, and there was a lot of soot on the outside, or using gasoline antifreeze, which is also an alcohol, and I wasn't too keen on using one of those, because it's possible they have other additives besides just the alcohol in there, and you are dealing with food. So this is a product that is designed for cooking food with. It burns cleaner than many of the others, and it's relatively cheap. I got 500 milliliters for $1.99 at the store, and I'm sure you can find it cheaper than that. So, fondue fuel, we got a stove, let's fill her up. We'll get chopping up with our vegetables and our meat, and we'll get our dinner going. So we got it filled up just about the level of here. We'll see how it goes. So hopefully this will be enough fuel to be able to cook our meal and possibly boil water. for a nice coffee. But we'll see. We'll nest our stove in here for now. Safekeeping with the lid on. And when we're ready, we'll open that up and give it a shot with a ferro rod. All right, so there you have it. Chicken all chopped up. We're gonna chop up some potatoes. Get our mushrooms in there. Mushrooms are always a must. Now all this is going to shrink down and fit in there quite nicely once it's done frying anyway. And we'll throw in a couple of the onions, not all of them. We'll add some more onions a little bit later as everything kind of settles down. I think that's looking pretty good already. All right, so we got our Trangia stove in there, but I'm going to prepare the simmer right away because once we get our stuff all fried up, I'm going to drop this guy on and we're going to make our sauce to go with it and we're going to need to reduce the heat just a little bit. There we go. We're lit. In case anybody's wondering, we got our ferro rod. Sparks like a boss, and I use my my Mora to spark it. But the ceramic striker that it comes with works just fine as well. Dinner's on. Sorry guys, today we're going to be rocking the chicken a la king. So we're going to need this package with, I believe it says 1 cup of water and 1 cup of milk. There's our sauce. There's our milk. Scientific procedure. Looks good to me. We're going to go old school. Pick this guy up. Toss these guys in. Put that guy in. Put this guy on top. Oh man, that looks good. There we go. It ain't fancy, but it'll do. We'll let that cool down a little bit before we snuff it out. But here. Look at this. Does that guy look alright, guys? Bet you want some. It's probably too much food for me. I'll do the best I can though. I also got some nice rolls to dip in here. I'm gonna have a seat. Considering this is the first time I've ever cooked with a Trangia, we managed to pull off something pretty decent. With only a little trouble. I figure while I'm sitting here enjoying my lunch, I'll let you guys have a look at the view that I have. What are my thoughts from my first use of using this Trangia stove? I don't know what we call it, cook system, I guess. I'm sold. I can't believe how easy it is to set up, heat up, cook with, adjust the heat, all of this in one day. And I cooked myself not the same old you know, like the easy meals, you know, like the noodles and dried veggies or whatever it is. I actually cooked something a little more elaborate, we'll call it. It's not just frying a steak or whatever it is. I made a stew, we'll call it. But it actually came out pretty good. It cooked really well. The temperature was easy to control. Once it starts getting a little bit hot, you just toss that little snuffer thing out on there with your damper, and you can knock down the heat considerably with it. Cook things nice, low and slow. Works amazing. I really can't believe how how good these things are. I'm sold. I have a feeling that once winter rolls around, I'll be able to cook all my food in extreme cold with this thing too. We're gonna have to test that though. Extreme cold testing on the Trangia stove. For those of you who are on the fence, like I was for years, about trying out a Trangia stove, don't be. Give it a try. For the amount it costs, just for the burner, I think I could buy it for here around from like $15 to $20 for the burner set. This whole thing's going to cost you a considerable amount more, but you're getting a complete cook set. You're getting your frying pan, you're getting 2 pots, you're getting your burner, you're getting your stand, you know, your windshield. Everything is all contained and ready to go. And I don't know. It wasn't too long ago I paid $65 for a pot to come outside, and this was only a little bit more than that, and I've got a whole cook set with it, with a stove. And the whole thing weighs in a little over a pound, I think. I'll put the weight of it right up here. Anyway, guys, I'm gonna shut my face, eat the rest of my lunch. At least try to. Do some dishes, and then head back out on the water and see if we can get ourselves a fish. Here we go. Coffee is ready. Yeah, I know my hat's goofy. I actually bought it for hiking in the woods. I did have a close call a couple years back where it wasn't actually even hunting season. The guy was just walking around, I guess practicing shooting, and he picked a bad spot, I guess, and was just shooting around, and it ended up hitting a tree about 20 yards away from me. And I yelled at him. He said sorry and left. I never even saw the guy. But after that, I tried to be a little bit more cautious while I'm out there, just because you never know. You never know what dummy's out there. But gotta tell you guys, I'm really enjoying having this canoe. I know it's only the 3rd time I've had it out, and I'm hoping to come back out again tomorrow with Logan and do some fishing again if it's not too windy. All right, coffee's done. Let's pack everything up, get the hell out of here. Sorry guys, lunch is done, area's cleaned up, and we're shoving off. So I figure we're gonna head towards, I don't know if you can hear that music in the background, but we're gonna head on towards there and see if we can get onto some fish over in another spot that I know, and hopefully we'll have some luck. See right here? Guy's got his duck blind set up. It's a pretty good one too, considering I completely missed it on the way in. But it is what it is, eh? I tried to fish here. It ain't happening. The wind is too strong, and I think maybe even the current, but it's not letting me steer. Actually, I think I'm getting blown away. All right, time to take that headwind head on. Oh, we're still going backwards. Oh, shit. All right, let's go. To that spot where we can go under the bridge, and this way you can't suck us out to the big water. There we go. Oh. Sorry guys, I'm calling it. I'm gonna head on back to the launch, bring everything back, tie up the canoe and head on home. No fish, no action, but at least we got to go out and try out that Trangia cook kit. I'm really impressed with that thing, and I can't wait to get out and use it some more, test it in winter and whatnot. But I mean, it's pretty close to the size of one pot all nested together. So once you break it on down and you're ready to cook with it, you got yourself a great little kit. So I'm just about back at the launch. So I want to say thanks for coming along. Hope this video wasn't too boring, and I'll see you on the next one. You guys get out and explore.